So here's a tour of my dust collector upgrade. I tore my whole dust collector apart and reassembled it all together. First of all, this is my cyclone separator. This is where the suction happens, so it sucks and it goes. There's actually two ports, but you can, if you're not using one, you just close that up. And it's hooked up to a Rubbermaid garbage can. And so what happens is most of the stuff comes in here, gets whipped around in a cyclone kind of motion, and a lot of it falls down into the garbage can. And then the rest of it gets sucked up here by, this is the impeller assembly, which actually is the vacuum part of it. That's the motor on it. That's one heck of a vacuum motor, 1.5 horsepower. And so this, it sucks up through here and draws it up, which is what causes it to draw in here and make the whirlwind. And then it blows out here into this, which is the filter assembly. So up here is a 1 micron filter, which is pretty effective at filtering most of the debris out. And then all of the fine dust ends up here. Now I haven't changed this bag in ages, and there's very little in it. Just a little tiny bit of dust at the bottom. The lion's share of the stuff goes into the garbage can, and I've emptied that garbage can probably a dozen times, and that's all the little debris that ends up in the bag. So this was a heck of a process, where I had to tear it all apart and rebuild it, and I've now built it in. So I built the cabinet there that the filter unit is sitting on, and I got it so it was very close to the ceiling. There's just enough room for the light and the crank assembly, and then it's sitting on a cabinet to raise it up, and I've got my air compressor sitting down there, so I'm not wasting space. And really there's enough room in there. I could build a drawer or two depending on how big I wanted the drawers to be, which would be nice. And the air compressor is loud, so I can close it up and have maybe some insulation in there to quiet it down. And but this whole thing used to be on a big skateboard, the impeller assembly and this filter. And the room that it takes up now is more vertically, but it's less, it takes up almost the same room in terms of how deep it is, and it takes up less room width-wise, and I've got the garbage can in there. And now, instead of having a great big long hose, that was this hose here, see how long that is, that was what connected the impeller assembly, the vacuum part of it, to draw up through this. Now it's this tiny little hose, and oh my goodness, the suction power that this thing has is unbelievable now. I mean, it was good before, but it's impressive now. And this has now been shortened. It was that there, right? Which is a little bit shorter. It's not bad, but it used to have a bit of a vertical climb to get up to the filter, and now it's pretty much straight through. And so it's really increased the suction power and the cubic feet per minute. So and then because this thing is loud to begin with, so when I built the little shelf for it to sit on, I cut out a chunk of rubber, and that's what this is actually just sitting on. It's holding the weight of itself that way. And that way it's to reduce the vibration. And I gotta say, like, I expected it to be a lot louder, and it's not bad. The only thing I noticed is when it fires down, I think it's actually noise from the air cycling down in the plastic bag. I get this really low bass rumble, which is probably coming through here, but it's only at fire down. When running, it's about as loud as it ever was. And I could, if I wanted to, I suppose, kind of close this in a bit and put some insulation so that it wouldn't be quite so loud. But it's nice. I can just go and I can get to the switch real easy. See that bag blows right up. But like the suction power of this is just unbelievable how powerful that is. And I don't know if you can hear the bass rumble. Yeah, but it didn't last long. Anyway, that's the new setup.